My sister called me sobbing, telling me she had stage 3 cancer and needed help covering treatment. I emptied $75,000 of my savings into her account within the month, no questions asked, because that's what you do for family. 14 months later, I sat in a courtroom and listened to her own doctor testify that she'd never had cancer at all. If you've ever given everything you had to someone you trusted completely, only to find out later it was built on a lie, hit subscribe right now because this story needs to be heard. Comment below and tell me if you've ever discovered a betrayal by accident in a place you never expected to find it. I read everyone. Here's how it unfolded. My name is Lauren Vance. I'm 39, and my younger sister Kayla and I had always been close, closer than most siblings. The kind of relationship where I never once questioned whether she'd tell me the truth about something as serious as her own health. I'd spent 12 years working as a hospital administrator, ironically enough, the exact background that should have made me more careful about verifying a medical claim rather than less. But grief and love have a way of overriding professional instinct entirely when it's your own sister on the phone, crying, telling you she's scared. Kayla called me on a Tuesday evening in March, her voice shaking in a way I'd never heard from her before, explaining that she'd been diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer after months of unexplained pain she'd been quietly enduring, too afraid to get checked. She described appointments, an oncologist named Dr. Reyes, a treatment plan involving chemotherapy, and a specialized procedure not fully covered by her insurance, and a financial gap of exactly $75,000 standing between her and the care she needed. I didn't hesitate. I liquidated a portion of my retirement account, took a loan against my house, and wired the money in stages over the following month, exactly as she requested, timed to coincide with what she described as upcoming treatment deadlines. Over the following year, Kayla shared updates regularly, photos from what she said were chemotherapy sessions, though always from angles that never fully showed her face, explanations for canceled visits due to low immunity, a GoFundMe page she eventually started to cover what she described as ongoing costs beyond what I'd already given her. I noticed small inconsistencies along the way, the kind I chose at the time not to examine too closely. Her hair never thinned the way chemotherapy typically causes. Her energy when we did see each other seemed largely unaffected. When I gently asked once whether she wanted me to come to an actual appointment with her for support, she deflected quickly, citing hospital visitor restrictions that didn't quite match anything I knew from 12 years working inside that exact system. The inconsistency that finally broke through my denial arrived almost by accident. 14 months after that first phone call, I received a routine call from my own hospital system's billing department regarding an unrelated matter, a minor scheduling issue for my own upcoming physical. During that call, making idle conversation, I mentioned, without thinking much of it, that my sister had been treated at a nearby facility for ovarian cancer, and asked, casually, whether the representative could help me understand an unrelated billing question about combined family insurance plans. She checked the system, paused, and said something that stopped me completely. "I'm not showing any oncology records under that name in our regional network, ma'am. Is it possible she was treated somewhere outside our system?" I spent that entire evening making calls, quietly, carefully, to hospitals and cancer centers across the region, describing Kayla's claimed treatment timeline, the specific oncologist name she'd given me. No record existed anywhere. Dr. Reyes, whom I finally located an oncologist by that name at a regional cancer center, confirmed after I explained the situation and provided the necessary consent forms to discuss it given my financial involvement, that no patient matching Kayla's name and information had ever been treated at that facility ever. I didn't confront Kayla immediately. I spent the following 2 weeks instead, methodically, the way 12 years in hospital administration had trained me to, gathering documentation. bank records showing exactly where my $75,000 had actually gone, which turned out to be almost entirely toward credit card debt, a car lease, and a vacation Kayla had taken with her boyfriend 8 months into her supposed treatment, one she'd told me was a recovery trip recommended by her medical team. I consulted an attorney who specialized in financial fraud between family members, a narrower and sadder specialty than I'd realized existed until I needed it, and learned that what Kayla had done, fabricating a medical condition specifically to solicit funds, constituted actionable fraud, particularly given the extensive paper trail of specific medical claims she'd made in writing, in text messages, over the course of more than a year. I confronted her only after the attorney advised me it was safe to do so without risking the evidence I'd gathered. Her initial response was denial, then anger, then, when I laid out the specific hospital confirmation I'd obtained, a long, terrible silence. "I got into debt," she finally admitted. "I didn't know how else to ask you for help without you saying no. I thought if it was something serious enough, you wouldn't hesitate." "I never would have hesitated if you just told me the truth, Kayla. You didn't need to invent cancer. You needed to trust me enough to ask honestly." I filed a civil fraud claim 3 months later, after Kayla refused every attempt at a private repayment arrangement, insisting, even then, that I was overreacting and that the money had technically helped her regardless of the reason given. The case went to trial largely because Kayla's own attorney, apparently unaware of the full extent of the paper trail I'd assembled, advised her to fight it rather than settle. Dr. Reyes, the oncologist Kayla had specifically named in her original story, appeared as a witness for my side, confirming, under oath, clearly and without any ambiguity, that no patient by Kayla's name and information had ever been treated at that facility ever, walking the court through what a genuine ovarian cancer diagnosis and treatment protocol would have actually involved, a detailed, damning contrast to every vague detail Kayla had given me over 14 months. Kayla sat at the defense table through that testimony, and I watched something in her posture collapse entirely as the jury absorbed just how deliberately, how specifically, she'd constructed a story designed to bypass any reason I might have had to say no. The jury found in my favor, awarding restitution for the full amount plus a portion of legal costs, though I understood, realistically, that actually collecting the full judgment from Kayla's limited assets would take years, if it happened at all. That wasn't really the point by the time it reached trial. My parents, informed of the full situation only after the case became public within the family, were devastated in a way that reshaped the entire family's dynamic for months afterwards. My mother, in particular, struggled to reconcile the daughter she knew with someone capable of fabricating a cancer diagnosis in writing, in detail, sustained for more than a year. Kayla and I haven't spoken since the trial concluded. I don't know if we ever will again, and I've made a slow, difficult peace with that uncertainty. What I've come to understand in the time since is that the fraud itself, painful as it was, hurt less than the realization underneath it, that she'd decided somewhere along the way that the truth about her actual struggles wasn't something I could be trusted with. I've rebuilt my savings slowly, methodically, the same careful way I approach everything else in my life. I still work in hospital administration, and I find myself now paying closer attention to the patients and families who come through billing disputes, wondering how many of them are navigating something as complicated and lonely as what Kayla apparently felt she couldn't say to me honestly. I don't excuse what she did, but I've stopped needing to fully understand it in order to move forward from it. I think about that first phone call sometimes, her voice shaking, and how completely I believed her, not because I was naive, but because I loved her enough not to question it. I've learned something uncomfortable from all of it. Love and trust aren't the same thing as verification, and sometimes the people closest to us count on exactly that difference. Has someone you trusted completely built a lie specifically designed around your love for them? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every one. And if this story resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear that trusting fully doesn't make you foolish, even when it's betrayed. This is Lauren, and this has been Revenge of Betrayal. Remember, the truth doesn't need you to raise your voice. Sometimes it just needs a courtroom and someone willing to finally tell it under oath.